Welcome back to Tux Traveler. I know we're in the van today instead of being out on the road, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit of different insight to van life, and that is traveling and planning your trips. Now, I did a separate video about, I don't know, 6-8 months ago on how to find free campsites where we looked at a few different phone apps and things like that. But today I want to give you a little bit better insight because I don't use apps. I find the location tracking stuff to be horrendous, and I just don't recommend that kind of stuff. And some of the apps are okay and some are not, but I really find that sitting down at a computer when you have signal is the best way to do that. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take you to 3 sites that I usually use in order to plan my different trips and talk about where we're going. Now, one of these is actually going to be Google Maps. And the reason I'm going to use that is because it tends to be the most update with the most updated information, particularly if I'm in a place without a lot of BLM land. I have to be around cities. I want to check hours of stores. I want to check prices on gas and things like this. Then this gives me a lot more items. Now, I only use a browser that is locked down without a Google account, so they can't track and log what I'm doing. That is the one site I use. The next is I use freecampsites.net, and I have an account over there because I think it's such a great service, and I created the account so I can leave my thoughts on the different campgrounds as well. Sometimes I'll update if somebody's added a no parking sign. Other times I'll update people about what the cell signal is like in that area and things like that. And the third is actually a government site. So we're all over the map as far as what we'll use. The government site shows you with surprising accuracy where you have cell signal. So I can cross-reference the places I want to be to where I have cell signal. And this way I can be confident or at least have some knowledge going into it. Am I going to be able to work here or not work here based on what the maps are saying? So let's go ahead and shoot on over to the computer and I will show you the sites that I'm using and how I use them. So first, of course, we are on Google Maps, and this is freecampsites.net. And then this one here is kind of the gateway, and then you click on this Go to Mobile Map. I'm just going to do it in a new tab just so I can remember to keep this tab open to show you guys the link. I actually just have this ugly URL stored in my browser. So we'll go ahead and do that. All right, so first, where are we at right now? Well, as I'm recording this, we are in Ashland, Michigan. Or Wisconsin, excuse me. We crossed out of Michigan last night. We are in Wisconsin. And there's a Walmart Supercenter over here, and that's where I ended up staying. Now, if I do the same search over here at Ashland, it'll pop up Ashland, Wisconsin. It's going to zoom in on the area, and it will give me some insight as to places to stay. And this is actually not the Walmart shows up on this list, but there's a Quick Trips convenience store and RV truck park down the way. The Walmart here has no overnight parking signs, but the Walmart actually doesn't care. And most Walmarts around here don't care. It's just that the rich people at the edge of town are like, ooh, there's people parking in Walmart overnight. And they don't like that, and they throw a hissy fit. And that's one of the reasons we're losing some Walmart parking spots. The other is legitimate homeless people coming in their cars, and people who are forced to live in their cars, we need to figure out something to do with them, but they tend to make a mess wherever they're at. And I don't know why they can't at least clean up their area. They're not doing anything most of the time except sitting there, just standing there. I have watched people. I'll pull into a park, I'll sit here, I'll be working for 6 hours, and they're literally just sitting there. They're drinking Coke or something, or on Facebook or whatever else. It's like, get out of your car and do something, sir. But we'll go ahead and leave that for another day. Now, as far as our map here, I can actually let's just go. I've never actually used the search function here. All right, let's Give it a try. Oh, look at that. It works nicely. All right. So when we get here, you find your cell carrier, and they have AT&T, they have T-Mobile, U.S. Cellular, and Verizon. If you've never heard of U.S. Cellular, I didn't either until I traveled around the country. There's like a few places in the country that use it. I think it's the old Union Wireless, just on what it was. There was an old Union Wireless controversy out when I lived in Wyoming where they had control of all the mines, and other people were like, hey, can you borrow your towers? Like, no! So you couldn't get cell signal in any mines except with Union Wireless. And so all the other guys like, well, we're not working with you then. And so they got like the coal mines and nothing else. People who lived in worked on the oil fields and the coal fields in Wyoming had to have two phones, one for when they're on the mine and one for not. It really hurt their business model. For me, my van uses Verizon data for my main cell signal, and my phone uses T-Mobile towers. And one of the reasons I do this is I might find myself in an area that doesn't have one or the other, so I actually have a little bit of overlap in the two. I'm just going to use voice and data from Verizon, voice from T-Mobile. So you can kind of see that Ashland, no matter where I'm at, is going to be well covered. And indeed, I have good signal on T-Mobile, and I'm using the Verizon internet right now. And so this is actually very good, so I can do some researches. So I know today I kind of want to I only want to drive about an hour today just because I have a lot of streaming stuff tonight. And so I wanted to get just beyond here because on free campsites, there's really not a lot over here. So if I do another search over here for Superior, you see there's a little bit up here, a little bit up here. Really nothing else in the area. But one of the things I want to do is find a day parking spot. And so I'm going to do similar searches on Google because not everything is on free campsites, and I don't have a lot of all of the information on Google and on everything else. So what I'm going to do is I like looking around, and particularly if I'm passing through, I look for these green spots in Google Map, which are either golf courses or parks or cemeteries. In this case, this is a pretty cool park, and what I like about the Google Maps is I can click it and I can see reviews, photos. I mean, look at this. I like outdoors. I like walking, and man, I wouldn't mind hiking a place like this. So, okay, well, maybe I'll see that old lady with her cat. I don't know. So this looks like a neat place. It's kind of right off the route that I'm planning on coming to, and it looks like a spot where I'm going to be able to stop for a while. So I want to get an idea where it's at. Okay, so we're going to find 53 is going to cross 13, and it's a little up. So let's check our FCC coverage maps. Here's where those two roads merge in. Here's where 13 comes up. And I should have good data there. Let's check T-Mobile. So T-Mobile's also going to work pretty well there as well. Look at that. One little spot, the data doesn't work. So, I don't know. We could have a little spottiness section there. But overall, it looks like my Verizon's going to work just fine right there at that little roadside park. And if you zoom in enough, you might actually see the road on it. There it is, in fact. So let's go ahead and double check that. And let's double check the T-Mobile. So there's a spot there that my T-Mobile may not work, but as long as I have Verizon, I do have wireless calling enabled as well. So I'm generally not without phone as long as I have Verizon. But if I don't have Verizon, I might have some T-Mobile service. So this gives me the idea of where I can get, but I'll also be able to see from Google Maps, is it open or not? So Bear Creek Park looks like it closes at 4:30 p.m. So I can't do a ton of work from there, but I'll be able to get in there and spend most of the afternoon there, and I'll check the signs when I get there. Is this really a park that closes at 4:30? Now, I didn't see anything about entry fees. If I get there and there's an entry fee, I'll abandon ship. But the other thing that I'll see when that closes, if they boot me out at 4:30, I can see there's a Walmart Supercenter and a Menards over here. Both of these are places I can go and I can sit in the parking lot for a few hours and get a little bit more work done still within the city limits. And so the other thing you can do is when you get on over here is you can actually check and do checks to see if they allow overnight parking or not. Not all of them are going to have all this, but I just get into the function, into the comment searches, and I'll just type in things like overnight. This is a clean Transient RVers. This is why clean transient RVers were banned, staying overnight at home. I'm guessing there was an issue where some RVer got into the Walmart and opened everything up and made a mess. I'm guessing that was the case. He didn't provide any photo or instance as to why he wrote that. This is the one Walmart where I found there everyone was just talking about, okay, it's really nice when we can park overnight. When we got to Duluth, we got really foggy, so we pulled in, always have a place to shop. So this one might very well be friendly to our overnighters. I don't know. Menards is also generally another one that is oftentimes friendly for overnighters. So let's go ahead and just do an overnight search in the comments for this one. And nobody's talking about it, so you don't know you're going to get in there. The problem we'll find is you might get into towns like this and, you know, the city posts signs that you're no overnight parking. Sometimes those are enforced, sometimes they're not. Now, if I can't find one of those, the next thing I might look for is rest stops. And so I can close this out, and I can come over here, and I just type in rest area or rest stop near me. This is going to pull up a bunch of these different rest stops, which there's more up here. Let me move the map around, hit search area this way. You can see there's a few different ones. There's actually another one. I know there's another one right up here. That's the one I'm trying to show here. Let's zoom in here. That's the one I was looking for, the Minnesota Welcome Center. Now, clicking on this, they actually say here under a question, can you stay overnight? They say Minnesota, is it Minnesota rest areas are restricted to 4-hour parking, which, you know, Pennsylvania in theory limits it to 2. Most rest areas I have seen are not going to object to you coming in and parking overnight. Assuming you get there late, don't roll in at 5 o'clock, open up your slides, and, you know, set up camp and set up your solar ovens and all this kind of stuff. When I'm going to stay overnight at a rest stop, I'm going to hang out in the Walmart parking lot until late, usually after dark, get all my work done there, and then I'm going to drive to the rest area late, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, because I'm a night owl. Stop there, maybe get an extra hour of work or so, and then I'm going to leave very early in the morning. I don't want to go over here and just hang out and look like I'm hanging out all day. That's where you're going to get your 4-hour challenge. And but in this case here, I don't want to get there too early if I'm planning on staying overnight. But people are saying that on most nights you'll find 10 to 15 cars overnight here, and apparently there's Minnesota State Patrol right here at the edge of the parking lot, and since there's always a bunch of people there, it's generally going to be acceptable if you get in, stay overnight. Because this is where the logic of the western states are good, like Nevada's got signs, tired, pull over anywhere. You know, would you rather people stop overnight at the rest stops or get drowsy driving through your state and crash and burn on the interstate? Have a little bit of common sense. And usually the signs are up because here's the fun thing. I read through the rules in detail at like Pennsylvania. And it's like you get 2-hour parking, but after 48 hours, if you're not there, they'll consider your vehicle abandoned. What they're trying to prevent is they're trying to prevent people coming in and just setting up camp and staying there. So that's why they put these 4-hour limits. Ohio rest stops, many of them are like, you can park overnight if you sign the registry. And then there's no registry in order to sign. Okay, I have never had a problem staying overnight at a rest stop. Other than that one creepy guy who tried to approach my car at 3 a.m. for some unknown reason, and I just scared him away. But, you know, the one thing I am going to worry about this one is, according to the various comments, is a lot of people have complained about a very, very creepy restroom attendant that watches people pee. Bathroom attendant was creepy. Standing at the door was watching guys urinate. Yikes! That was 5 years ago. Hopefully he's gone by now. I don't know. But that's kind of what my goal is for today, which is going to be old news because by the time I post this video, I will have moved on from there. So I'm going to leave the Walmart over here in Ashland. I'm going to drive on over to the park until they boot me out. I'm going to head on over to this Walmart or Menards, one of the two, just for a few hours. I'm going to shoot up this route here and then jump onto here and then hit this welcome center around midnight is what I'm going to do. So am I going to have any issues with cell coverage? So that's the good thing to double check, make sure, because if I'm planning on working. So here is where the Menards and the Walmart are. It looks like I'm not going to have any problems with cell phone coverage, which completely expected that. Didn't expect to have any problems there. And then over here at the rest area, I won't have any issues either. Now, when I'm get west and out of the cities, we're going to find over on freecampsites.net, which I haven't focused on this one a whole lot. This one here has a lot more of the BLM type things. They don't have all the rest stops. They don't have all the shopping stores and things like that, intentionally so. But what they will have is interesting places. So like here's Hogs Beach camping. I might go here tomorrow. It's sort of in the direction I'm heading to. So these guys here, when here's a kid, still family comes here. Basically, it's just a pull out by a lake, but there's no real objections to overnight parking according to city code limits. This will tell me that there is some cell available, and some people will provide photos of the spot. So I kind of know what I'm looking for. This isn't bad. It's a nice little pullover. If there's no objection to overnight parking, there is a guardrail divider, so I feel safe there. Last review was sent in 2020, and that's why I have an account over here to populate some of the newer review sites, test some of these places, make sure they're still good. This guy does report good Verizon signal, and indeed, if I zoom the map out and head on over and find that lake, that is this lake here. I believe that's the one. Double check. Yep, right on 18 there. Right on 18. And you'll see that this is within a range that has some good cell signal for Verizon. And let's see what T-Mobile's going to do. Okay, T-Mobile, I might be out of luck. So my main cell signal is probably going to stop working. Let's go ahead and zoom out. Yeah, so T-Mobile, my primary cell phone's probably not going to work there, but Verizon will. So that'll probably be fine for an overnight stop. And then I get a chance to head on and move further west from there. So we'll get a chance to see that. So utilizing these different resources, I can get a chance to look at the maps, understand where I'm going. And here's another reason I like Google. You'll see this one is temporarily closed. Also, as I'm going through, let's look for gas stations. So just hunt down any old gas stations. It's going to pop a bunch up. So I can see here on Google Maps is telling me the average prices for gas. So particularly if I'm up in Michigan area, let me move back on over. There's Ashland. So if I'm back over here in the Michigan area, here's Inner City Oil. This guy here has... This is a gas station, but they're not actually giving me prices, so I'm questioning that. Here's 385 of this Exxon, 358 here. So you can see that gas prices dropped about 30 to 50 cents just moving on over here. So I can see which gas stations along the route and get an idea for what I might pay. So over here's a quick trip. So if I do need to top off my gas here, you can see 375, 375, 334. That might be a fun one to swing by. And then it will also give you a star. If these gas prices are older than 24 hours, it's going to tell you the gas prices. So this way I get a chance to see the gas stations. I get a chance to see the stores. I can check for the rest stops. I can check for pullouts, roadside parks, all that kind of stuff using this. And then I can get some idea of hours of reviews. The free campsites is going to give me a better idea of backcountry parking. You can see all these different campsites, and these guys are going to have your coordinates put in here. So make sure you have a GPS where you can input coordinates. I always recommend this, guys. If you're thinking about getting out on the road, get yourself a car GPS. Don't rely on your cell phones for GPSing. You're going to lose data at some point in time, and you might need your phone for something else. There's other things. Car GPSs are about 100, 150 bucks. They are designed to not be connected to cell signals, and the modern ones will give you traffic feedback as well. They're going to better handle coordinates, they're going to better handle addresses, and you're not going to be tied in. And another fun fact, you're not going to be giving Google your data roaming in point for point. You should turn off your location services unless you absolutely need it for any given thing. But over here, you can see I have the GPS coordinates. Some cases, they might have an address. And then this one here, I can see, Verizon's not good internet. So I probably won't go up to this spot up here, unless I check the FCC maps and see what they say. But with that, these are the functions that I use to do some research, a little bit about how I move from site to site on a day-to-day basis. Just poke around, see what's around, and I learn how to read maps. I'm not reliant on the GPS. I try and have an idea as to where I'm going and how I'm getting there before simply and blindly relying on the GPS to get me there. So these websites here, I'm going to link these 3 down in the description. Actually, I'm not going to link Google Maps. You all know how to find Google Maps. But I'll go ahead and link the freecampsites.net, and I'll link the FCC map, which is really beneficial if you need to make sure you're staying within cell range to get work done like I do. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video here, and we will be back with another outdoorsy video next time. Thanks for watching, and we will see you a little bit further down the road.